Hello, my name is Robert Dean Steele, and this is Real Living, your daily Bible class. Listen to what James has to say in James chapter 3, verses 9 right through to 12. He says, "With the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings, who have been made in God's likeness or image. Out of the same mouth come praise and curses. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water." What James is basically saying is this: out of the same mouth, blessing and cursing should not come. He says, with one side of our mouth, we are praising the Lord. And in the next moment, we are cursing human beings made in the image of God. You see, it is so very easy to do. On one hand, we're sitting there saying, "Oh Lord, I praise you, I thank you, I give you all the praise and glory." And then something happens, and out of our mouth comes a curse. James says, brothers and sisters, this should not be. In fact, what we are doing is unnatural. He gives us 4 illustrations. He says, both fresh and salt water cannot flow from the same spring. He says, a fig tree cannot bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs, and neither can salt spring produce fresh water. But what happens every single day throughout the world, within the Christian world especially, is this one moment we're praising God, and the next moment we're cursing men made in the image of God. You say, well, what do you mean by doing that? Well, for example, you are praising God, and then in the next moment you are gossiping about someone, or you're bearing ill will in your heart towards them, and that comes out in your mouth. What James is saying, this is unnatural. The spirit is spirit and the flesh is flesh. In fact, we are the only creatures in this entire planet that have the capability of doing that. We have the capability of encouraging people, lifting people up, speaking well of them, or we have the ability to curse them, to gossip about them, to say nasty, bad things about them. James says a man who loves God, or a woman who loves God, should not be doing these things. James is talking about that little tongue. He calls it a world of iniquity. It literally creates a brush fire of gossip, of slander and contention. It's amazing what will come out of our mouths. And all because we do not walk in the Spirit. You see, walking in the Spirit is submitting our thought life to God. Saying, God, my thought life is yours. And Lord, in my heart, I want you to put truth and righteousness and holiness in my life. Those are the things that will come out of our conversation, in our lifestyle, in the way that we approach people, when we have the Lord in control. But you see, the real power of the gospel is contained in who's got our tongue. Does God have your tongue? Can you speak blessings only? Or do you have this double side where you talk out of both sides of your mouth? Don't do that. Today, determine to do 2 things. Number 1, to give your thought life and your conversation over to God. And number 2, engage your brain. Don't say the first thing that comes out of your mouth. Don't be a talk thinker, but instead be a thinker and then talk. You see, James gives us the secret. He says, be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. He says, fruit that comes from a tree that is good and healthy is good fruit. A bad tree produces bad fruit. A bad spring produces bad water. Good grapes, a good grapevine will also produce good grapes. The same with an olive or a fig. What James is saying to us today is, when the Lord is in control of our heart, when the Lord is in control of our mind, the Lord will also have control of our tongue. And I know how tempted it is to say or zing people. Maybe the best thing to do is not say anything at all. Be like David and say, Lord, put a watchman on the door of my mouth that I will not sin against you. These are things to think about. My name is Robert Dean Steele. This is your daily Bible class. You have yourself a great and godly day.